I'll build on that too, and the point being like authentic and relevant. It's so important to be yourself. And the great thing with these tools, these different websites, really basically anybody can participate. And there's this analogy that I've heard a lot. Some people call the social web, it's the world's biggest cocktail party. Because everybody's invited, and there's no guest list. Anybody can just come and show up at will and indulge. And what you can do there is, by participating in a way that's meaningful and relevant to the people that are in your audience that you want to connect with, is you can allow people also to get to know you and to discover you. So instead of limiting yourself to just one space, say your website or your MySpace page, by using these various other sites, and you've got your content, we call it. So you've got a song or you've got a story you've written already that you can share in multiple places in multiple ways, so more people can get to know you and find you.
And I think an important point about these media is that there's a potential for other people in turn to share your content. So when you are sharing it online, that's really the first step in what should be a multi-step process. If I have a story or if you have a song, it's something that you want to post on Facebook and then get 100 of your friends to share with their friends. That's this idea of going viral, right?
One of the problems that I've discovered when you have so many different sites out there, you've got Facebook, and we thought, all right, we're going to go do a show. Something's on Facebook. I'm going to send a message out and promote this event. And now I'm going to put my schedule on MySpace, and I'm going to tweet it. I'm going to update all of these items. It just becomes overwhelming. So one of the tips I wanted to throw out there too, or maybe you guys could mention some tools you use. Artist data is great, and ping.fm. There are some places that you can go in. For example, as a band, you can put your schedule, your tour dates out there in one location, and it automatically updates the 20 or 30 sites, so you don't have to go everywhere and keep changing all of that schedule. And by the way, I think what we'll try to do, whether it's on the event website or not, we'll come up with a way to put a list maybe of tips and links and things somewhere on the web. If you sign up or get an email, we'll send that information out to you after the symposium. Anyone have some favorite tools they use for their social media needs?
I can almost show that it's on post almost exclusively. That and state media agency presents with local apps. Almost exclusively. I only let the poll start at tour date. It just seems to be the most. That way I don't feel like running all over.
Yeah, that's what's great too about some of the things like this. You feed those sites.
Yeah.
Your event info.
I probably use Twitter more than anything. Twitter's my favorite. And why is Twitter my favorite? Some people say, like, I don't get Twitter. What is this? I don't get it. It seems stupid. Kind of the proverbial, I don't really care what so-and-so ate for breakfast. But what I say in return is actually why I love Twitter is because Twitter makes me smart. Because there are more smart people hanging out on Twitter, talking, sharing information, sharing insights. Really, is they're discovering them half the time. More than I could ever possibly hope to connect with and meet in real life. So I can tap into that there. One of my favorite tools within Twitter is something called TweetBeat that I just got turned on to recently. And the sidebar with that is like there's a new Twitter tool introduced every day. So that you're constantly see a stream of them if you tune in. They're everywhere. So TweetBeat, you can set these alerts, and I have them for my name, for my brand Tampa name. I have them for a couple other things related to my business. So every day I get an update at the end of the day that tells me any tweets that talk about me. Which, as a musician, like you really want to know if you have fans out there, like connect with them. People are talking about you and know what they're saying, and be able to, run with that. So that's a great thing. It's tweetbeat.com. And then another one I use, which I find is like gold, is Twitter search. Because you can actually search, I use that more than I use Google at this point in my life. Because in terms of being able to find, more real-time information, if I need somebody's phone number, I go to Google. But if I want some scoop, I go to Twitter search, or a new one I just found is called Twas Up. It's TWAZZUP.com. And I found that a couple weeks ago, and I heard somebody tweeting about a Twitter conference actually that was going on. And they use a hashtag. This is just a pound symbol like we're using here. So it's a pound symbol for and homemade, which is the hashtag for today. So that you could search later and you can see everything that's tweeting from here. You'll have this actual way to see what we've all said about it. And add your 2 cents in. So on this Twas Up thing here, you can see a whole conference going on. They show actually who's up speaking now, the most popular links that people are talking about in relation to it. So really, it's just, you can get really smart about your fans. And you can also get smart about the people you want to connect with, whether it's in the media or agents or whatever that looks like. But you can do so much intel work and use that for your personal business strategies.
Can we get a show of hands here? How many people here are signed up on Twitter right now? And how many of you are tweeting at least once a day? So a much smaller number. And that jives with all the studies that we see. Almost 80-90% of people sign up for Twitter aren't really using it actively. So it's still a really new thing. I don't know what Twitter post-Oprah is going to be, but I know that Twitter pre-Oprah was a smaller group of people who, for lack of a better word, are tastemakers in the community. And you may not be reaching high numbers of people through Twitter yet, but you're reaching people who are very well connected. And that can be as valuable as talking face-to-face with maybe 200 or 300 people on the street randomly with a flyer about your show or your CD, is getting one person on Twitter who really truly is a tastemaker to pay attention to you. So there's value in it. And if you ask yourself, well, what's the purpose of me being on Twitter because none of my friends are on it, ask yourself if there's just one or two people out there who have a lot of connections that would take me 10 years to build, is it worth me getting on there to talk to that person? I just wanted to add one thing about revenue. I imagine some of you are wondering, well, where's the money in all this? That's a big question for new media companies like the one I work for. How can we use Twitter to help us make money? We're not doing this for free. And if you're a musician, if you're an artist, you might wonder the same thing. I can throw a couple of examples out there of companies now that are making money using Twitter. They're not necessarily making a lot of money, but there's some revenue in it. On a small scale, if you have CDs to give away, or if you want to give away free downloads of the week, Twitter is great for giving shit away. So if you have something that you can offer just to people who follow you, people will start to tell other people to follow you if you give something away with regularity. It could be a download, it could be a t-shirt, and that way you're branding yourself. Once again, if you get a t-shirt in the hands of a tastemaker, it's more valuable than getting your hands on a t-shirt of someone random.
Some of the biggest news that's gone on actually this weekend too is Facebook. Did everyone go out and grab your own username Saturday?
Not yet.
Are y'all aware? But this morning at 12:01 or whatever. If you're not aware, Facebook just released this where you can grab your own username to this crazy list of numbers and characters. So go do that before your name is gone. They were expecting that could have been the highest traffic peak on the internet history for people trying to grab their Facebook name. So free tip of the day.
And Facebook is, I find, I'm also a musician, it's not as friendly for me as a musician as MySpace is, but unfortunately that's where people are migrating. MySpace, you probably notice, is becoming more and more a place for teenagers, pedophiles, and musicians. I mean, I get plenty of messages from bands on MySpace, but I'm no longer actually talking to my friends on MySpace. I think MySpace knows that this has happened, and that's why there have been big changes at MySpace. But the writing's on the wall for MySpace that people have left it. And Facebook is where people are now talking. Facebook was not built for musicians. So it is more of a challenge. But there are plenty of tools out there as a musician where you can get your music up, post it on a site, and then use Facebook to refer to it. Facebook is great for putting up links. If you go to put up a link in Facebook, you see it does all this magic stuff. It puts up a picture, it puts up a little description. It's basically helping you link out external things all the time in that stream of information. Use it as much as you can. Get your stuff up on a website. If you don't have your own website, use MySpace. But use Facebook to link to your MySpace page. Tell people on Facebook, I put a new MP3 up, and here's the link to it, and send people to there. Just use it as much as you can.
I think this is